Hi everyone! I wanted to welcome you guys to the second HCG diet interview. Welcome, Barbara.
I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for asking me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, your basic stats, how tall are you, just all that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm 56. I just turned 56 in December, and I'm 5'3". I started off the HCG protocol at about 135, and now I am 120 pounds. I lost 15 pounds, which was amazing, and I'm maintaining it really well.
So tell us a little bit about your background with the health struggles that you've dealt with in the past, and how has that affected your body and your weight?
Well, I actually have an eating disorder history, and I was an eating disorder therapist for a very long time, and from the time I was about 11 till I was 30, I did the whole yo-yo dieting thing, and I'm pretty small framed, and so my high weight was over 165, which was a lot for me. And I'd go down to 120 and back up many, many times. And then at about age 30, I got into recovery and never went on another diet again, and very slowly lost weight in a very healthy way, and had maintained my weight up until 2007 at about, how I want to say, I was about 123 for many years, very comfortably.
Yeah.
But then I got cancer and actually did really well through having cancer and chemo in terms of my weight and exercise, and which was amazing because most people gain a lot of weight during that time.
Right.
But I was pushed into menopause with drugs that I was taking, and very slowly gained weight. First it was a pound and 2 pounds, which was fine with me. And then I was taking some drugs to prevent me getting cancer again, which lower your estrogen. And all of a sudden, overnight, I gained 3 or 4 pounds, and then another 5 pounds, and pretty soon I was 15 pounds overweight. And on my little body, that was a lot of weight for me. The only answers that I got from doctors were, well, you're in menopause and there's nothing that you could do, or, well, you had cancer, you should be glad to be alive, which of course I was, but that wasn't enough. That wasn't good enough for me.
Yeah. Also, you had also mentioned that your metabolism, like for instance, the reason you were gaining the weight was that you were eating healthy and eating lower calorie, but still gaining weight, right? Something like that?
Exactly. My metabolism, I'd had several surgeries from having had cancer, and from all the surgeries and from the anesthesia, it's like my metabolism shut off. But if I had some thyroid issues, and I was eating less than 1,200 calories a day and just gaining weight, and we had a joke that I could sniff food and gain weight.
So
and I eat really healthy. I have been gluten-free and sugar-free. I don't drink, and so it felt like there was nothing I could do about it. I tried so many things and nothing was helping.
Yeah, so there really wasn't a logical reason for it because you were doing all the right things and still having your weight go up.
Yeah.
So tell me, what were your thoughts when you first heard about the HCG diet?
Well, I have an alternative doctor who's very open-minded, and he suggested it to me because he was like me. He was the only doctor I found that wasn't willing to give up on my goals, and I was very skeptical. As I said, I have a background as an eating disorder therapist, and I don't really even believe in diets, and I had the whole thought, well, anybody's going to lose weight on 500 calories a day.
Yeah, because 500, I mean, obviously, if without HCG, it would be really extreme. So you're right. Like for someone with your background, it's like warning signal. I don't know about this.
Exactly, and I wouldn't have even considered it if I didn't trust my doctor a lot. And then actually I saw your pictures on the web, and when I realized you were a real person and it wasn't just these fake Photoshop before and after pictures, and that you'd kept the weight off for a long time, I thought, well, what do I have to lose? I can try it and we'll see. And I only committed to 21 days at first. But I was very skeptical.
Yeah.
And especially because I wanted to do the homeopathic version, and I was skeptical about homeopathics also.
Sure, right. So tell me what your results were from doing your round.
Well, I immediately felt an effect from the homeopathic remedy. I used a remedy that was given to me by my doctor and recommended, so I knew it was a good version because I know there's a lot of scams out there.
Yes, there are. We have to make sure we make that clear with everyone.
And I don't necessarily think homeopathics for everybody. I'm very sensitive to energy, and I felt an immediate effect. So I started off taking about I want to say 30 drops a day, and I was taking it 3 times a day as recommended,
Yeah.
which is the equivalent of about 125 IUs from what I understand now.
Gotcha.
And I did great at first. I was losing weight pretty comfortably, and then about a week in, I started to get hungry and was uncomfortable. And I spoke with you at that time, and you recommended that perhaps I should increase the dose some, and you said I shouldn't be hungry, and that really helped me a lot.
That's good.
So I increased my dose. I switched it to 4 times a day at 9 drops and did 36 total drops a day, and had no hunger issues the whole rest of the time.
Awesome. So just 6 extra drops, and bam,
Yeah.
hunger gone again. So you did P3. So tell us about P3 and P4, how that went for you and what you were nervous about.
Well, as you know, because I wrote to you a bunch of times, I was really scared about going into P3 because my biggest issue wasn't even the weight loss. It was, can I change my metabolism? And what's going to happen when I start eating relatively normally again?
Yeah.
And so I went really slow. I wasn't even able to eat fruit in the past because I would gain weight and I would feel bloated, and I decided to try fruit while I was on P2 and had no problem with apples and grapefruit and lemon, which I was excited about.
Yeah, I remember you were really excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was like a treat for me.
Like, I can eat apples.
Wow. And so in P3, I really took it slowly. I did no starches and no sugars, and at first, when I went right up to 1,500 calories a day, I felt like I was gaining a little bit of weight. So I took it slow. I did like 1,100 calories and then 1,200 and built up to 1,500. And I didn't immediately just rush into eating all kinds of food. I very carefully, I stayed away from all the cautionary foods. I made myself a really good chart of what foods I could try and how to test them. And then I recorded every day what effects that they had on me.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of food I was able to eat, no effects at all, and then other foods that affected me, and so I backed off from those foods and really monitored my weight and stayed from like 120.5 was my highest. One day I think I was at 121, and then I was down to 119 and just backed off a little, added a little bit, and was very careful, just kept telling myself it's only 6 weeks, and my only goal here in this next 6 weeks is to stabilize my weight. It's not like I can't eat these foods forever, but what I really want to integrate slowly, and was very happy that by the end of P3 I was still at exactly 120, and had tried a bunch of foods that I hadn't eaten in years.
And it was okay.
And by the end of P3, I had built up to between 1,500 and 1,800 calories a day. And I was gaining weight at 1,200 calories before.
That's crazy.
I mean, I eat like a big steak, and there's a lot of foods I can eat. I can eat butter, I can eat fats, I like non-fat plain yogurt. There's some of the cautionary foods, I can eat cheese. And it's amazing the amount of calories that I can eat, and my weight stays the same.
Wow. So obviously, definitely more than just losing weight, this really has affected your hormones in a more permanent way in your metabolism and stuff, huh?
Which is the biggest thing that I wanted out of.
Tell me about P4.
Well, what I'm noticing in P4, because I'm in the process of it, is some of the foods that made me gain weight in P3 are not making me gain weight in P4. I was really excited because when I was in P3 and I tried to do nuts, I gained weight, so I backed off from nuts. But yesterday, even, I ate a peanut butter bar, and I had some squash, and I had some potatoes, and my weight was exactly the same today.
Awesome.
And so I'm finding that the biggest thing I can say to people is just patience. It does take a while to reintegrate with foods and
especially
digestion.
Things that have the carbs and the starches, right?
Yes.
Even healthy ones.
Healthy carbs and starches, because I haven't eaten any carbs and starches in many, many years.
And it's nice to know that too, because sometimes people come to the wrong conclusion with HCG that after you're done, that you have to live low carb forever after that or you'll gain weight. I've read that in different places, but it's simply not true. Every person's body is different. You're finding that you can include healthy starches once you get to P4. Same for me, actually. I can actually eat quite a bit of fruit, so I definitely don't have a low carb diet. But every person's body is different. But like you said, I think the key is definitely being strict in P3, because like you have just lost a lot of weight, and at first your body is going to want to go up. So that's why, Dr. S had all that rules about no starch and no sugar. But that later, once you are stable, you are able to include, you know, more foods. So you're having the same experience.
The more time that goes on, the more stable my weight is. And I
Yeah.
feel really excited about
That
that.
is so awesome. What are the three biggest changes? We've kind of talked a little bit about it probably already, but the three biggest changes that you've noticed pre and post HCG for you?
Well, the biggest one is that I really feel hopeful. I don't feel, I really felt at the effect of everything doctors were telling me, like, there's nothing you can do about this. You're stuck with it. You're in menopause. You look great. You're healthy. Why do you care? And I do care. I'm very athletic. I'm a wakeboarder. I'm a
Yeah.
yoga person, and I really like feeling my best in my body. So I
Sure.
feel hopeful. I feel like even if my menopause slows down again, I've got HCG to help me. I am eating many more times a day. I've been, as I shared before, I had an eating disorder, and I've been healthy around food for a long time, but I had a structure of eating 3 meals a day, which really kept my eating disorder under wraps and kept me feeling in a good relationship with food. And now I'm eating like 6 or 7 times a day in small portions, and I like it. It's
Awesome.
so different for me. It's life changing for me to just go, okay, well, I feel like eating something, and trusting myself, I can eat that food and I'm not going to gain weight, and I don't have to be hungry all the time in order to maintain my
Oh,
body in a good place, and I can eat new foods, and
yeah.
those two things are huge for me.
Wonderful. So you just have more freedom now with how often you eat and what you eat. You just have a lot more freedom without your body freaking out on you.
Yes, absolutely. And then, of course, I mean, the third biggest change is just all of my clothes fit again, and um, I feel good in my body. I didn't feel bad before, but I feel much better now.
Yeah, it's fun when you
And
can feel great about your body.
yep, yep,
That's
exactly.
good.
So that's
Good.
that's a huge change. And I just have to say, discovering flavored stevia has changed my life. Like English toffee stevia, which I've got off your
That I
website,
know
is
that's one of my favorites.
oh, I love it. I put it. I drink tea. Oh, here's a big thing I've done differently.
Sure.
I drink tons and tons of fluid. I did it. I've done it all through P2, P3, and P4, way more than I did before. Doing that and adding apples and grapefruit to my diet every day. I haven't stopped eating 2 apples and a grapefruit. And every day that I drink fluids, eat grapefruit and eat apples, my weight stays consistent. And I'm
Interesting.
going to continue to do that. And I drink so much tea.
That's
It's
good.
amazing.
Yeah, I do the same thing with tea. That saves me in P2. Just living on tea. Well, good. Well, great. Well, thank you. Is there anything else you can think of that you wanted to share? Or does that cover it?
That I really encourage people to check in with themselves and to try this if it feels like something they want. I did it really, I was desperate. And I think people reach a point of desperation of trying everything, and
Yeah.
you don't have to be desperate to try it. It certainly can't hurt, and it's life changing, and it's worth the effort. And you have to really want it. It really takes a big commitment, and at first it's confusing because there's a lot of information, but once you get it, it's pretty easy. And I got on a roll, and it was a nice way to eat, and I felt good the whole time. And also that you, Razel, are just an amazing resource. I encourage everybody
Thank you.
to look at Razel's website and the videos and all the information and articles, and just your passion about it
Thank you.
is really inspiring and has helped me a lot have faith and hope that I could do this too.
Oh, well, thank you very much. That's really sweet. Well, tell us, since we're about done here, tell us just your different contact info. I know you have a couple businesses, and so let's plug whatever you want to plug.
Well, a couple of the main things I do is that I've been married for 20 years, and my husband and I have been leading a relationship seminar for 15. It's for singles as well as couples, all about keeping passion alive in your relationship. And that's
Awesome.
my favorite thing to do. And it's intense and confrontive and life changing. And
Awesome.
it's called the Bonding Weekend. You can find us at bondingweekend.com.
Okay.
And then the other thing I do is I'm a knitter, and I'm passionate about knitting, and I design my own clothing and accessories, and I make everything in cashmere, and I make arm warmers and leg warmers, and that's Urban Knitta, Knitta, urbannitta.com.
Well, I'm going to put all of that info, the links to her websites in the description box below too. So thank you so much for coming on with me today, Barbara.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm really glad.